3 years ago, I decided to become unemployable, and it changed everything. For part of my life, I dreamed about working in corporate America and getting paid fat stacks. So what changed? In this video, I'm going to tell you why you should become unemployable. And I don't mean quit your job and pig out on the couch. So at 21, I was living my dream of working on Wall Street, but I soon discovered 4 harsh lessons that turned that dream into a living nightmare. But first, let's clarify what being unemployable means. Basically, it just challenges the traditional idea of only relying on a job for income and fulfillment. It doesn't necessarily mean you don't have a job. It just means you're actively creating your own opportunities, whether that's building new income streams or just being more self-reliant. In psychology, they call it the locus of control. Basically, if your locus of control is internal, you believe that you control the situations that affects your life. If it's external, you believe that external factors determine your success and failures. Like you may see yourself as powerless, with all your opportunities being limited by your employer, constantly being dependent on them. But when it's internal, although you might still work for someone, they have significantly less power over you, and you quite literally start seeing a world of untapped opportunities waiting for you to grab. No more asking for permission or being forced to be told what to do. So Professor Cobb Clark and her colleagues looked at national housing and financial data, focusing on assets and liabilities across 3 different time periods. And then she analyzed that against individuals' locus of control. And the result? Households with individuals who believe they can control more aspect of their life accumulated more wealth over time. The more you believe that you have control over your own destiny, the stronger the spark will be. And the more opportunities you see and the harder you'll try, which allows you to more easily achieve success in areas such as your health, your relationships, your finances, and careers. For me, it was only 3 years ago that I made the decision to become unemployable. Since then, I built several businesses that allow me to travel the world, do what I love, and be financially free. But it wasn't easy to make that decision. I was hesitant, terrified even at first, because although it's sad to admit, it was oddly comforting to believe that I had little to no control over my life. There was always an excuse that I could fall back on, like I'm not rich yet because there's just no opportunities, or I'm not healthy yet because I just don't have time to work out. And it was only after I realized these 4 harsh lessons that showed me how what I found comforting was actually suffocating me. But first, I need to tell you one of the first income streams I built when I became unemployable. I was still working a full-time job, so I needed something easy. I picked an e-commerce website, and I started looking for web hosting that was fast, has great support, and good value. And I kept coming across WPX because I saw that they won for the 2nd year in a row the fastest fully managed WordPress hosting award. Then I saw they had a dedicated support team live chat that answers all your questions in under 30 seconds. It will even fix your website issues for you, which is unheard of. And it was only $24.99 per month, and this includes up to 5 websites, free email, and all this other stuff, and someone is taking care of your website 24/7. So I gave it a go, since they have a 30-day money-back guarantee, and I gotta say, it was pretty great. Their dedicated support team and one-click WordPress install made it super easy to get started. So if you want to start a side hustle and you're a busy person, check out WPX, who partnered with me for this part of the video. Plus, they're giving my viewers 50% off the first month on all monthly hosting plans if you use my link below and use code Vincent50. Okay, so let's talk about the 4 truths I learned that convinced me to become unemployable. The first one goes back to the early 1900s, when if you entered an elevator, you didn't need to press any buttons. There were elevator operators stationed in each one, tens of thousands in New York City alone. But soon, elevators became automated. And then, well, you know the rest of the story. We don't have elevator operators anymore. This is just one of many examples where job security was just a veil that made employees believe that as long as you had a job, you'd be financially secure. But this is one of the oldest lies that you've been spoon-fed. The truth is much darker. Right now, we have a looming recession and an AI boom. If we look at what happened after the 2008 recession, 8.8 million people lost their jobs in the US alone. About 170,000 tech workers were laid off up to May of just this year. And 45 million are estimated to lose their jobs to AI automation by 2030. And sure, we can blame these companies for not being prepared and not taking more responsibility over just casually firing millions of people, potentially financially ruining them. But shouldn't we also blame ourselves for not preparing? I mean, we know it's going to happen. This is the reality, and the more you believe in this false sense of job security, the harder you'll be impacted. So how can you start to become unemployable? And it's by proofing yourself, not proving yourself. Like many of you, when I worked in corporate America, I wanted to prove myself to my boss and coworkers. I was caught in this idea of constantly seeking validation from them and gunning for a promotion. And in retrospect, it was pretty toxic. We'd all brag about how many hours we just worked or how we were working so hard that we had to skip lunch. We'd kill ourselves to just reach a deadline. And for what? The truth is, your company doesn't care about you. You are just a cog in the machine. And if you disappear tomorrow, the company would just replace you with another cog, as if you never existed. So instead of proving myself to others, I learned to start proofing myself. I stopped seeking validation and instead focused on self-validation. I started upskilling and learning new things to the point that I became both indispensable and self-sustainable. And it's at that stage that I no longer felt confined by my job, because I knew without a doubt I could easily find a better job or use those skills to start my own business. And if you want to learn everything that I learned so you can live a wealthier and healthier life, sign up for my free weekly newsletter, link below. Next is knowing that the ability to do things like proofing yourself or starting an income stream are now easier than ever. Over the last decade, the internet has exploded, and with it, entire industries became more accessible, specifically education. Before, if you wanted to learn something, you had to go to college or trade school, but now you can learn what you want whenever you want without needing to pay for anything. If you want to start a marketing agency or build a tech product, you could learn everything online. And I'm not saying college has no purpose, it definitely does, but it's a refreshing thing to know that it's not an absolute necessity to do what you want to do. Next is knowing your true value. And when I talk about value, I'm not talking about self-esteem or self-confidence. I'm talking about understanding your intrinsic worth and recognizing the value that you bring to the table. Like if you have a job and your salary is $60,000, you need to know that what you provide to the company is worth more than $60,000. It's simple economics. Every business model is designed to make a profit, and salaries are generally one of, if not the highest expenses of the business. So naturally, a business is going to do its best to pay you less than what you bring to the company. Your true worth, your skills, and your talents are actually greater than you inherently believe them to be. In psychology, they call this belief imposter syndrome. It's basically where you constantly doubt your abilities and your accomplishments, and that you're scared that one day you'll be exposed as a fraud. You keep thinking, I'm not good enough, my work sucks, or it only worked out because I was lucky. But the reality is, you are good enough. And it's only after you recognize your true worth will you be able to become unemployable. And you don't have to quit your job to make the change. When I became unemployable, I was still working in finance. I used my job as a secure base to cover my financial needs while I experimented and explored other opportunities, slowly building more income streams. And just 6 months in, I was making enough from my new income streams that I no longer felt imprisoned by my job. So instead of quitting your job, just start cheating on it a little bit. And that leads me to something that you've got to start accepting. And it's that even if you really want to become unemployable, sometimes you just won't have enough time. And that might be because you don't know these easy time-saving habits. Click here to learn how you can save several hours each week so you can start focusing on what really matters.